Hello everybody, welcome to my video. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can use Nerdy's Better Animations to make custom mob animations. So this plugin supports MCreator versions 2025.3, 2026.1, and 2026.2. So if you haven't already, make sure that you have downloaded the plugin and then install it on the MCreator, and then let's get started. Okay, so here is a quick model that I made in Blockbench. What you want to do is make sure that it is a modded entity. That is what you'll use for this plugin. If not, you could convert it into one by using the convert project. And then here I have a few animations that I made. One of them is a looping animation, and one is just a default animation that would stop once it's done. So like here is the first animation. It's basically just him emerging out the ground. That's for whenever he spawns in. And then the loop animation, it is just, he's just spinning. So once you're done with the animations and the model and all that, make sure that you save the texture and then do File, Export, Java Entity, and Export Modded Entity Animations. And then let's go ahead and upload it to MCreator. Okay, so here we are in MCreator now. So what you want to do in order to be able to upload it is go to resources over here on the left. So click on that and then make sure that texture files tab is selected, and then import texture and then import entity texture. Alright, so then it should show up over here once you're done. And then so now go to 3D models and texture mappings and then import Java 3D model, not JSON 3D model, but Java. And then click on that, press OK, and then upload your model. Alright, so once you upload it, it should show this little menu right here. What I do is cancel override if like I have a walk animation already. I mean, if you want the default Minecraft animations with your entity, you can select for like head animation, you would do head movement animation, or right arm movement animations, etc, etc. But what I'm going to do is keep no animation and just press cancel override. If you do override, then it would have the animation specify with whatever you want. But I'm just going to cancel it and keep it default. So now let's go ahead and do 3D model animations. Import Java 3D model animation, and then import your animation, and then it should show over here. This little 2 right here, that's because I have 2 animations that I've made. So if you have maybe like 10, it would show a 10, and so on. Alright, so now let's go ahead and go back to mod elements, and then click on the plus icon. And then click on living entity or press E. So now I'm just going to name him my channel name, WiggyWorks, and then change the name. And then for the entity model, click on this, scroll down to custom model or whatever you have it named. Mine was named custom model, so that's why it says that. So now let's click on texture of entity and then click on this or whatever texture you have, and then change whatever you want over here depending on the entity that you have or mob. And then so now let's go ahead and do spawn egg. So now let's go ahead and go to animations tab, and over here, however animations you have, that's how many times you'll click. So I have 2, so I'm just going to click twice. And then this uses similar to the item animations where it uses index. So animation 1 is index 0, animation 2 is index 1. So what we want to do is on the second animation, change it to the second animation that I have. I'm guessing, I hadn't tested it, but if you have like a walk animation you made, I'm guessing you can, if you enable this, that would be the walk animation. But tell me in the comments if I'm wrong. I want to try that for mods I make, but that is what I do know, judging by how there's this, what this says anyways. The main thing we want to do now is go to triggers. So in here, for the initial spawn, because the first animation I made, it was like him like emerging out of the ground. What I'm going to do is on the initial spawn, I want to enable this, create procedure, and then it should show this. What I'm going to do now is go, you should see up here, there's better animation. So click on that, and then you should see for custom entity, event/target entity of type play animation with index. Drag this out, and then for of the type, if you don't see anything, go back to your mob and then click save and keep open, and then it should show the icon up here. So now if you try again, it should show up. So now we can keep it at its default because play with index 1, so that's animation 1, so I don't have to change anything. But now what we can do is just think of like what I need to do. So since he's emerging out of the ground, he's still able to walk around if I hit him and all that. So what I can do is add a potion effect of slowness. I can add a potion of slowness. So I would do add potion with particles on false, and then do slowness, so that way he can't move, and then do 255. So that way he's just stuck in place. And then the animation is, I believe, 2 seconds long. So that means I would make sure that it's 40 ticks. Every 20 ticks is 1 second, and then drag it in here, and then maybe add a sound effect. Let's see, I'm going to do maybe the warden whenever he goes out the ground, so emerge, and then save. Alright, so now for the second animation, that one's a looping animation. How about maybe it would stop the loop animation, and then once reset timer of the loop animation, well, resets, then it would start playing again. Alright, so what you want to go ahead and do is click on the plus icon on entity tick update. This procedure, I mean, if you've been around MCreator, it's pretty much the wild true do of an entity. So what we can go ahead and do is create a timer. So what we need to do in order to do that is go to flow control, click on that, and then if do else, and then drag that into there, and then go ahead and open up entity procedures, get data, scroll down until you see number NBT tag, and then drag this out, and I'm just going to name the tag maybe spin time. Alright, so then now let's go to actions, scroll down, and then get the set custom number NBT tag and name this the same thing, spin time. So now we have this little base for duplicating and all that. So what you want to go ahead and do is on the if, this is going to be whatever runs whenever the timer hits 0. So what we need to do is go to logic, drag out the purple statement. I don't know what that's called still. Then what you want to do is go to math, drag out the 0, put it on the right, duplicate the get number NBT tag, and then put it on the left one. So now we got that. And for the else, this is going to be the counting down of the timer. So what we want to do is duplicate this, drag it in here, go back to math, get out this plus statement, and put the 0 over here, set it to 1, and then duplicate the get number NBT tag, put it in there, and then now we got the timer. Okay, so now we have the base for everything. So we can go ahead and now put the set custom number NBT tag into here, and then you can also go ahead and delete that. And then set this to however many ticks you want. So I want the animation to reset every 2 seconds. So I'm going to set it to 40 because this number is essentially the tick number. So that is our timer. So now we can put anything above this on the do, and then that will be what plays. So I'm going to go to better animations, drag out this, put it above, set the entity to WigiWorks, and then play animation with index 1 because index 1 is animation 2. And now we got our animation for the on entity tick update. Okay, so here is our procedure so far for the on entity tick update. So what you want to do is go ahead and set this to -1. Now I want to also be able to make sure to like be able to know whenever it resets the loop. So I'm going to add a sound effect, maybe the XP sound effect whenever you pick it up. So let's do experience or pickup and set it right here. All right, so now let's do save mod element and then go back to WigiWorks, and then on the when entity is hurt, this is what I'm going to use for the stopping the animation from playing. So let's do better animations for custom entity of type WigiWorks stop animation with animation index of 1, aka animation 2. So save mod element, save the entity, and now let's go ahead and test it out in the game. Okay, so here we are in the game. So now let's go ahead and test out if the WigiWorks mob actually works. So let's press E, spawn eggs, and then scroll down, and then here is the beautiful WigiWorks mob in all of its glory. Alright, so now if we spawn it in, it should play the animation. So if we just press right click, it works. And then do you hear the sound? It's resetting the animation. Alright, so if we hit him, There we go. Alright, that is a good sign. Alright, so that means our mob works, and I will hopefully see you guys in the next one. Peace.